Welcome to Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I'm your host, Jill Jardine, Master's in Counseling Psychology, longtime professional astrologer, psychic healer, and yogi. In this episode, I'm going to give the astrological overview for 2025. There's so much going on this year. You're going to want to stay tuned to find out if your sign will be implicated in these coming astrological transitions. Hey listeners, I want to remind you to support Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine podcast. You can do that by going on to www.buzzsprout.com/958-528/support. This will be in the show notes. Welcome to the episode on the astrology of 2025. Stay tuned so that you can find out if your sign will be affected. We have so much coming up this year. This is a very transitional year. All the outer planets are changing signs this year. And we go into 2025. Pluto has just ensconced itself into Aquarius for the duration. Pluto will be in Aquarius all of 2025 during the early degrees of that sign. So tag Aquarius, you're it. I'm going to systematically go through all the big events in 2025 with a little bit of explanation, but I will break it down more in the monthly astro forecast through 2025. I just want to get these dates out, so I suggest you either record this episode, you'll have it, go back and listen to it, and write down these important dates. And if there's one of the major shifts in your sign, you're going to want to know that. You're going to want to know if Mercury is going retrograde this year at all in your sign, and you want to know about the full and the new moons, the lunations of this year, and eclipses, and again, if your sign's going to be affected. So, the first major changing of the guard that happens in 2025 is on January 11th, 2025, when the nodes of the moon switch into Virgo and Pisces. The south node will be transiting Virgo, and the north node will be transiting Pisces until July 26, 2026. So tag Virgo and Pisces, you're it. Also, the nodes of the moon indicate where eclipses will fall. So during the eclipses of 2025, Virgo and Pisces, you're going to be feeling it. So put on your seatbelt, get your remedies in order to weather the coming year. The other people who are going to be affected are those who have the nodes in Virgo and Pisces. So specifically, those who have North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo will have their nodal returns during 2025. Listen up. If you were born during any of these years, you're having your nodal return, which is basically a wake up to your soul. Happens every 18 to 19 years. And it's a big time to repivot yourself and try something new. And you get a wake-up call from your soul that, hey, here comes a new phase. So the nodes of the moon transiting with the south node in Virgo, north node in Pisces from January 11, 2025 to July 26, 2026. And those people who are going to be affected are born and having their nodal return June 2006 to December 2007. So they're between 18 and 19 years old. Then the other group is December 1987 through May 1989. Those people will be between 36 and 37 years old, approximately. April 1969 to November 1970. So they're between 55 to 56 years old. Then we have the group born July 1950 through March 1952, approximately 74 to 75 years old. And then we have people born from December 29th, 1931 to June 24th, 1933, between 92 and 94 years old. All of you are having your nodal return. But what we all need to know about the transiting nodes in Pisces and South Node in Virgo, that is the healing axis in astrology. So we're going to see some shifts. I mentioned this, I think, briefly in another podcast, and I'll talk more about it in the January 2025 podcast. But we're going to see a huge shift from the focus of the collective to healing. So Virgo rules allopathic, things like big pharma, medicine, traditional modes of healing, where Pisces is more about spiritual healing and energy medicine. And so Pisces is also very spiritual. So we're going to see people waking up to things like the non-physical realms. We might see a huge boost in things like mediumistic processes, which is connecting with people on the other side. We're also going to see a lot going on with the waters of the world. Pisces is a water sign, Virgo is the earth. So we're going to see a lot of shaking and quakings with the earth, ruled by Virgo, and the waters of the world. There'll be a focus on purifying the waters. Now, remember, we've had the outer planets, Neptune and Saturn, transiting Pisces, Neptune for approximately 12 years, and Saturn for 2.5. And they're actually going to change guards and go out of Pisces this year and into Aries, a fire sign. And then they'll retrograde back at the end of the year. So anyway, and as I mentioned earlier, all the eclipses, most of the eclipses in 2025 are going to be happening with the axis of Virgo and Pisces. So we're all going to be affected by that. So Virgo is about the earth and Pisces is about the water, a lot going on with the climate and with earth changes this coming year. More on the nodes in Pisces and Virgo in January's astrology. So that's the first major shift. On January 30th, we have Uranus, outer planet, going direct in Taurus after being retrograde for several months. So Taurus, big wake up for you. February 4th, we have Jupiter going direct in Gemini. Geminis, get ready. Jupiter will continue to go direct in Gemini until it changes sign later in the year. As I said, Aquarius, you got Pluto direct through your sign all year, especially those people born from January 20th to about the 25th. You're going to have Pluto conjunct your sun. Get ready for major transformation, death, and rebirth. Now, this is a wild year because, as I said, we have the outer planets Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune all changing signs. I can't remember the last time this happened when they were all changing signs in the same year. But let me give you this breakdown. And again, if it's changing from your sign into another sign, or if you're the sign it changes into, please take note, major changes and shifts in your life. So Neptune will shift out of Pisces, where it's been for 12 years, into Aries from March 30th, 2025 to October 22nd, 2025. Neptune doesn't like Aries. Neptune has been enjoying going through Pisces, its home sign. It will go back there October 22nd through January 27th, 2026, back to Pisces. But Neptune in Aries will be a little bit of a fish out of water. We have to remember, though, that Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So we will see new incentives, new initiatives, new innovations having to do with water technologies, healing power of water, and so many more things. Again, I'll get more specific during the month of March in my astrology forecast when this actually occurs. But this is a big shift from water into fire. Saturn is also going to transit into the sign Aries coming out of Pisces from May 24th through September 1st. Saturn will be in Aries. I'm a little more concerned about this. This is new beginnings. Aries is more of a fiery sign, so that makes it more aggressive. So Saturn into Aries could be a little troublesome. The last time it was there was 28 years ago. So that would be in 1996, 97. Think back to what was going on in your life when Saturn was in Aries in the late 90s. And the people who were born with Saturn in Aries, 96, 97, you're having your Saturn return. It's time for the karmic Lord to teach you some more lessons. So Saturn in Aries, May 24th to September 1st. Saturn goes back into Pisces September 1st through February 14th, 2026. Major shift. And these are outer planets, so they affect the collective and the consciousness of the collective. So we're going to be seeing some major shifts. And it's interesting that we have had some political shifts happen in the US and other countries in 2024. It'll be interesting to see how they play out with these outer planet changes. Then we go into June of 2025 when Jupiter leaves Gemini and goes into the sign Cancer, another water sign. So Jupiter in Cancer, that has to do with home, with the mother country, with family, with DNA, ancestry. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with Jupiter transiting Cancer from June 9, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Jupiter comes back around every 12 years. So the last time Jupiter was in Cancer was 2013. Think back to what was happening in your life in 2013 when Jupiter was transiting Cancer. Again, that's halfway through the year, June 9th, 2025 to June 30th. We have that Jupiterian shift. Then as we go into July, we have the outer planet Uranus transiting into Gemini, leaving Taurus after 7 years, going into Gemini July 7th to November 7th, 2025. And then going back into Taurus, November 7, 2025 through February 14, 2026. So we see this outer planet shift. And interesting, we'll have Jupiter going into Cancer, which is water, but otherwise they're all going to be in air and fire. So Pluto's in Aquarius, air. We're going to have Neptune in Aries, fire, Saturn in Aries, fire. That's harmony. There'll be harmony between Pluto, Neptune, and Pluto in Aries, especially May through about September when Saturn is in Aries. Pluto in Aquarius harmonized with Neptune in Aries, Saturn in Aries, and Uranus will be in Gemini. So Pluto and Uranus will be in harmony. And then we'll have the Cancerian Jupiter harmonizing with the nodes of the moon. So water, air, and fire, but mostly a shift from water to fire. And so there's a lot of new beginnings, a lot of initiatives, a lot of ideas, a lot of inventions and new things coming up in our society. So that was the outer planet shifts. Very powerful with all these changes because the outer planets affect us all and they affect the collective. Are you interested in natural health and regenerative healing? Do you want to work with vibration to heal your body? Check out this patented wearable light technology at www.lifewave.com/JillJar. LifeWave is a company that has patches that you wear. So it's not transdermal, you're not taking anything in. And what these patches do, they activate your body's light. It's called biomodulation. And that light is activated, your body starts producing GHK, copper peptides, which in turn activates stem cell production. That's right. So wearing these patches will regenerate your body, reflects your body's light back into your tissues, and you become more vital, energized, reduce pain, inflammation, improvement of sleep, increased strength are all possibilities. Other benefits could be hair quality, rapid wound healing, mental clarity, increased joy and stamina, your skin appearance and wrinkles could go away. Again, all probable and possible depending on your chemistry. Others have enjoyed increased sports performance and recovery and restored muscle or skeletal conditions. Check it out at lifewave.com/JillJar and order yours today. Now I'm going to go through the eclipses that we can expect for 2025. So the 2 months that are the eclipse months are March and September. March 14th, we have a lunar eclipse. It's a Virgo full moon. The sun is in Pisces. Now, for those who may be new to astrology, eclipses always fall on the same axis that the lunar nodes are. So, as we talked about, we have the lunar nodes in Virgo and Pisces starting on January 11th. So, thus, we have the lunar eclipse with the Virgo full moon and then the sun in Pisces. That's mid March. I'm going to get to Mercury retrograde, but it's also going to be during a Mercury retrograde. So this will be an interesting time of year, mid March, because we're going to have the eclipses. There may be some water and earth issues, earth changes happening, but just write down that date because things always come to a head around an eclipse. Then we have the solar eclipse in Aries. So this is the end of the Aries Libra axis that had been going on from 2023 through 2024. We have one remaining Aries solar eclipse in early degrees, 9 degrees on March 29th. Goes without saying, if you have a birthday around these eclipse dates, you're going to have changes in your life. Big shifts and changes happen if you were born on an eclipse. So March 14th and March 29th, then we move into the September eclipse season. September 7th is a lunar eclipse. It's the Pisces full moon with the sun in Virgo, 15 degrees, mid-degree. So that's going to follow through on whatever has happened on March 14th. It's a follow-up eclipse. And then we have September 21st is a solar eclipse in the very last degrees of Virgo. I think there's going to be a lot of news around health during the March 14th eclipse. And again, during September, a lot of things with health interventions, health initiatives, new health issues. There could even be some things coming up that are related to disease, either new viruses showing up or even cures for diseases. It should be very interesting to watch what happens in March and September regarding health, healing, and the earth and water. Let's go over those Mercury retrograde dates. 3 times in 2025. Sometimes we have 4 Mercury retrogrades, but this is 3 Mercury retrogrades. The first one is March 15th until April 7th. And Mercury will be retrograde in Aries. Aries, you're getting a lot of action this year, as is Pisces. So Aries retrograde March 15th until March 30th, and then Mercury goes retro through the sign Pisces from March 30th to April 7th. Might be a difficult time for travel, especially because there'll be an eclipse. 2 eclipses during that Mercury retrograde. Remember, March 14th is the lunar and March 29th is the solar. So you might think twice about traveling or making big plans during that eclipse window. That happens March 14th to March 29th. And also there's a Mercury retrograde sandwiched in there. So probably a red flag time during 2025. The second Mercury retrograde in 2025 is from July 18th through August 11th in the sign Leo. So Leo, you're at middle of the summer, July 18th to August 11th, a Mercury retrograde in Leo. And then the third Mercury retrograde of the year is November 9th through November 30th. And that basically takes out the month of November. So that Mercury retrograde is November 9th through the 30th, from the 9th to the 19th. Mercury's retrograde in Sagittarius. And then from the 19th to the 30th of November, Mercury's retrograde in Scorpio. So I would say these Mercury retrograde cycles, as well as the eclipse cycles, show us our red flag months for 2025. March could be a little dicey there, second half of March. Red flag time between the eclipses and Mercury retrograde. Then the second red flag, I would say, would be September because of the eclipse season. And then the third, maybe tentative month or month when there could be things going down would be November because of the Mercury retrograde for most of the month. Now, I also want to talk about when the outer planets go retrograde. They tend to go retrograde for months at a time, and this happens every year. But it just is good to note this. Again, more dates for your calendar. Let's look at the first outer planet to go retrograde. That's Pluto, retrograding in Aquarius, May 4th through October 13th. The second outer planet going retrograde will be Neptune retrograde from July 4th, 2025 to December 10th. Then Saturn goes retrograde on July 14th, November 27th, 2025. Then we have Uranus going retrograde. Okay, so let's go back through this. Pluto's going retrograde in Aquarius, May 4th to October 13th. Neptune's retrograding through Aries and then shifting back into Pisces between July 4th and December 10th. Saturn's retrograding again in Aries, going back into Pisces between July 14th and November 27th. Uranus is retrograding September 6, 2025 to February 4th, 2026, first in Gemini and then back to Taurus. And then Jupiter is retrograding from November 12th, 2025 to March 11th, 2026 in the sign Cancer. So there you have it, all the big astro antics in 2025. So just to refresh, Pisces and Virgo, you're going to be affected because of the nodes of the moon. But Pisces, you also are going to be affected by the eclipses. And Virgo, you too. All the eclipses are happening in your signs. So heads up, plan accordingly. Taurus, you're affected because of Uranus being in your sign until it shifts on July 7th. But it will go back. So Uranus will be in Gemini July 7th to November 7th and be back in Taurus from November 7th, 2025 to February 14th, 2026. So Taurus, you're it. Gemini, you're going to be affected by Jupiter in your sign until it goes into Cancer, June 9th to June 30th. And then Cancer, that's a positive for you. Jupiter going through your sign is always nice. So Gemini, you get the hit until June 9th, and then Cancer, you're benefited from June 9th, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. Aries, you're getting a boost with Neptune transiting your sign from March 30th through October 22nd, 2025. And again, Aries, you're going to feel Saturn going through your sign, not necessarily a feel-good May 24th to September 1st. Lord of Karma says, hey, Aries, you gotta look at this and do something about it. And then Gemini, you're affected by Uranus going into your sign July 7th through November 7th. So very interesting. Just as Jupiter, you get a month off there. Jupiter goes into Cancer June 9th, but then Uranus comes into your sign on July 7th, Gemini. So heads up if your sign has been called. And then Leo, you need to be aware of a Mercury retrograde in your sign, July 18th to August 11th. And Sagittarius and Scorpio, be aware of the Mercury retrograde in your sign, November 9th to November 30th. So I gave you a lot of dates, a lot happening in 2025 astrologically. Put these dates in your calendar. The breakdowns will be in the months when these activities commence. So make sure you listen to the astro updates for each month in 2025. It's a great time to book a reading. So check out my website, JillJardineAstrology.com/shop, and pick the kind of reading or service you would like. This is Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine signing out, sending healing cosmic currents through the quantum field.